Sometimes we get sick and tired of being sick and tired. We draw our line through the sand, and the reason for this video is because a lot of times we get disillusioned with life and we don't know where to start. Like, what the fuck is the point? Why am I doing all this? Why do I go to work? Why do I pay my bills just so that I could have absolutely nothing left at the end of the month? But that's because you never paid yourself. And it's that simple. You never ever made yourself a priority. When I'm talking about that, I'm talking about it's payday, and I'm gonna prioritize my future self because I worked for the money. When you make this decision, you'll start doing it too, because it is the way that you solve basically your biggest financial problems in life. It's not going to solve all your problems, but it will solve your money problems when you decide to prioritize yourself first. And I do these videos on Friday because that's typically when about half of America gets paid. I know some people get paid every 2 weeks, and that's a little bit different than myself because I get paid every week. When I do, I immediately look at what the paycheck amount was for. Okay, the net amount, and I calculate what a tenth of that is, 10%. So if I got $1,000, that's $100 that I'm going to pay myself for working for that. And when you do this, it's not about the amount of money. It's about the mindset that you're creating. You want to go from being homeless to having a house, for instance. You're going to have to set that as a goal, and you're going to have to believe in that goal so much that nothing gets in the way of it. And so let's say that you're in debt, like you got credit card debt. You're going to have to prioritize that debt. You're going to have to prioritize the things you want in life. Like if you don't have a car, you should make that a goal that I own a car. You could be very specific about the type and the model, like a Toyota Camry, 2003, whatever the fuck it is. Create a very clear picture in your mind of what it is that you want to achieve. And that's not the only thing, but manifestation is the first step. You're going to have to prioritize saving first, because otherwise you're never going to have anything left. It's going to be the end of the month and you're not going to have anything left. And that's where these feelings of, despair come in. Like, what the fuck is the point? Or you start self-gratifying with simple little daily pleasures, like you get a pre-roll, you get a tall boy, a beer or something, a shot of some liquor. And the reason you do that is because you feel like you have no control over your life, but you have control over that moment. Like if your job really, really just sucks, you should make it a priority to get the fuck out of there as soon as possible. But when you don't have anything saved up, it's nearly impossible. You're going to have to tolerate that job because you didn't pay yourself first. You didn't make yourself a priority. So that's the rule of Fridays that I like to convey on everybody who watches this channel. And if you do, thank you very much for doing so. And the reason I do this is because I just don't really give a fuck what the world thinks of me anymore, because that's out of my control. What I really care about is how I'm feeling inside, how I manifest, how I compartmentalize existence. And my existence is, I've got a beautiful wife and I've got 3 children living in the house with me. I've got a son who lives with his mom. So I've got 4 children and a beautiful wife. And I really just have put all into that. I've gone all in on that. And I used to live in my car. Before I prioritized myself, I was living in my car. I was collecting on food stamps. and I was going to food banks so that I could eat. And I was hustling as much as I could, but I was running, I was self-employed, so it wasn't like there was ever a consistent check coming in the mail. I'd have to go hustle that. And sometimes, some months would be really good, but then other months I'd make nothing at all. When you have nothing at all and you got kids to feed, you got bills to pay, I mean, I know that, our modern day stressors are nothing like, the 1940s and 50s, or, like even the 60s and 70s. These people went to war. They had it a lot more stressful than someone, my age, born in 1987. I'm 38. I've had a pretty good life. Not very stress filled. I've had some, some personal losses that I thought would devastate me, and it ended up just making me grow into the person I am today. And so the reason I do this video on Friday is because I want you to pay yourself first. Whatever it is that you get, you're going to prioritize you. You're going to take, and I mean, like, let's just get this disclaimer out of the way. This is not financial advice, and you should not listen to some random guy talking to you on a camera phone. But that said, when I started doing this, I was only 30 years old, and I was living in my car. And when I was, when it's really cold outside, you really start to question the decisions that you made in life. You really start to hyper question every little decision you made in life that got you here, or you do something else. You play the victim game. You blame everyone else. When you take a look in the mirror, you're going to realize that it was you that made the decision that got you here today. Whatever it is that you did yesterday is why you're doing this today. And you take full responsibility for it. Then you start to learn. You start to grow. You start to make better decisions with your money. Like this took me until I was 31. I'm 38. I've only been doing this 7 years. And it completely changed the trajectory of my life. I thought that I was going to run a business forever, but it wasn't making me enough income, so I had to put my passion on the back burner while money took the driver's seat, okay? And the reason I had to do that is because, like I said, I'm married. I got 4 children to support myself. I enjoy the nicer things in life, as far as that goes. It's just basically having a car, a trailer home, phone and food in the fridge. But that's luxury to someone like us, so where we come from poverty in America. So the reason I do these is because I want to help you get out of poverty. Because if I could do it, if I was living in my car and doing temp service jobs, construction at graveyard, middle of the night, all the way until like 5 in the morning, I'd get off exhausted. But the reason I like this job is because I started reading audiobooks. I started listening to audiobooks and about finances, about mindset, about why it is I was so fucking sick and tired of being sick and tired. And eventually, after I started paying myself, I had a personal tragedy happen in my life that was pretty devastating. My baby's mother, she passed away from consumption. She died from over-consuming alcohol. And if that's not a wake-up call from the universe to make better decisions, I don't know what is. I couldn't even tell you. Losing a kid, you're gonna have to lose. You're gonna have to fall down to rock fucking bottom before you pick yourself up, and you either dust yourself off or you stay there. And my decision was, I'm not gonna fucking stay there. I'm gonna do better, and I need a better life. And when I did do that, I made the decision that my life sucks because I sucked. And if you do that, you start looking at yourself a little bit more critically, like, what decisions did I make that got me here? How am I responsible? Like, I know you can't take control over everything in your life, but the things that you have control over, those are the things that you should truly worry about. And the things that you have no control over, just forget it, because it's not gonna serve your life to worry endlessly about drama that you can't control, like so and so thinks this of me, or like I'm embarrassed because I fucking blinked too much, or like whatever it is, that if it's out of my control, then I just don't give a shit anymore. I don't, because I need to get better, and I'm still working on this. I'm working on it with all of you too, because this is my life, and I have to do this. If I don't, then the alternative is I was homeless, and fuck that shit. That's despair. Like, straight the fuck up. That is just existence of survival. And you go into fight or flight mode pretty much every fucking day. You're always constantly struggling. I mean, you steal from the grocery store just so you can eat. You steal bottles of liquor so you can fucking feel better. And you would buy all these things if you had the money, but since you didn't have the money, you justified criminal activity, selling food stamps, whatever it was you did, dealing drugs, whatever the fuck it is that you thought was your hustle. It's because it was from the impoverished mind. And once you graduated from blaming everybody for all of your fucking problems, and you looked at yourself right in the mirror and you say, I am so sick and tired of your shit, that's the first step. And then you make a decision that your life is going to be better. And it all starts by taking, just that first part of your paycheck, because it rewires what it is that is important in your life. If you have a goal, you start writing them down. You write it down in the first person, I am, because that's all you can be, is I am. That's me. So when I started doing this, I was very ambitious, like, holy shit, I could be a fucking millionaire. So I started writing that down. I am a millionaire, but these baby steps to get there, you really, really want to be a millionaire, you gotta create $10 million in value, or $100 million in value. You gotta serve 10 million fucking people, if you're gonna be a millionaire. If you're gonna just run a successful business, you gotta build something that's, bigger than yourself. And you have to have a very, very high tolerance for stress when you're running a business, because they will break you. And that's what, the rules. So it's like the entry, it's like the payment for being in business is constant stress. You worry about the future at all times. That's kind of the rules of running a business. And when I had to regroup, when I was 31, living in my car, I had to regroup because it just wasn't fucking working anymore. I told myself, this fucking sucks. My life fucking sucks. And, it's not that I didn't have a wonderful family, a kid, a girlfriend, and all this stuff. It's just, I was living in my fucking car. And that fucking sucked. And I don't want that for you. I guess I'll end this video a little bit short, but hey, thanks for watching it. If you want to, you can like this. You can subscribe to the channel if you want to hear me talk about my life and my career, my trajectory, and my goals, everything like that. We're going to go over it all. And, hey, thanks for watching. If it helped, that's my goal, is I really wanted to help you. So we'll see you in the next one, and make sure you pay yourself today. Peace.